Hey everybody, Brett here with Double Shots, and today I am doing a little different of a review. So this is something we've never done before here on Dylan's Double Shots channel, but I wanted to do something that is really important to health, and that is hearing, and a new feature. What are these? These are traditional hearing aids. Clinical hearing loss. This is hearing aids. This is a set of hearing aids. And then this is Apple's AirPod Pro 2 hearing aids that clinically is being released tomorrow. Some people have already gotten the update. You might have gotten the update over the weekend. You might not have. But if not, you've been hearing a lot about Apple having a patent and FDA clearance on their AirPod Pro 2 via a software update that allows these to be used as a clinical grade over-the-counter hearing device. So we're going to go ahead and talk about it. Hearing health. First and foremost, I am doing this based on my own research as well as on my own opinions after using everything. I'm also doing it on some of the factual side of things here as well too, guys, because as a person myself, I am accustomed to hearing loss. It is something that affects me. I actually found out a little over a year and a half ago that I was having mild to moderate hearing loss. I went into an audiologist, and unfortunately, you have an audiogram that is done, and it kind of gives you what levels, what ranges and everything you have that struggle of. So then they want you to do everything from there, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. That being said, 15% of Americans, as of today, 37.5 million Americans report some degree of hearing loss. And it's a tough topic that's really hard to discuss because you really don't know. Mine, unfortunately, is on the, while I have mild to moderate, it is on the lower hearing that I can't hear that decibel, and it's starting to really fade. So here's what we're going to go ahead and talk about. When you go in for hearing loss, you usually reach out to an ENT. The ENT is then going to probably recommend, based off of that, they do what's called an audiogram, which sort of looks like this. So I'm not going to show you all my personal information off the report and everything, but this is a true audiogram report where it shows everything from my levels of loss to the speech audiometry of everything and where it kind of sits at the range. I'm at pretty much 40 to 60. That is a huge loss right here, guys. That is a huge loss, and that is on the lower frequencies that we hear of. So when I go to get that report, then my ENT has a specialized department that comes in and talks to me about hearing aids. This is the frustrating part when it comes to getting hearing aids, because you are left on your own. First and foremost, it costs money. It does. You have to go see an audiologist, which is what I always properly, before you go and just say, hey, I got hearing loss, I'm going to start putting these in, and I'm just going to assume and kind of go from there, because there are steps you have to follow with this as well too. But usually then they'll sit down and talk to you about hearing aids. Then, though, what gets into hearing aids is the cost of out-of-pocket expenses that either your ENT is not going to want to handle the insurance because you haven't met the deductible, or they're going to require you to put it fully down and pay for out-of-pocket and then try to get reimbursed from your health care plan or go from there. I kind of had that struggle with mine, and I'm not going to name the ENT simply because of things. I felt like the service quality went down after that. Hearing health is important. Being able to hear the recognition is really important. The valuable feedback is most important, simply because sometimes I do rely on listening to the voice and interpreting from the mouth, and I can understand the words from there. But there are times where I cannot actually truly legitimate hear it. I repeat the process and say, what? What did you say? What did you go from there? But sometimes it's embarrassing to go ahead and have to wear hearing aids because usually they look like this. This is the most common. Now, this one is not a traditional. This one actually, they have traditional that you actually have the volume buttons and everything right on here. And it's pretty much controlled from this. However, in today's technology, most hearing aids can be customized and programmed, and the audiogram can go ahead and be uploaded to your hearing aids. Now, the thing I don't like about these hearing aids, first and foremost, is it feels so loose and unsecure when it's behind my ear. Plus, it feels like it's adding pressure. Plus, then on top of that, I feel like I have this wire that comes loose into my ear. Yes, it's invisible, and everything, but I always have that sense with having the thing that's over the ear, it hurts after a while. And then on top of that, making sure that this bud is actually inside the ear, so that way it can digitally signal process the actual sound that's coming through. That being said, then let's go ahead and put our other one on. And there's that. But it feels like I sit there and when I'm talking that I have a wire that's in there and it moves around a little bit. So if I move my head, guess what? I feel that movement of that wire and the bud that is actually sitting there in the ear, causing it to be sometimes uncomfortable. Now, believe it or not, these are not hearing aids that I got from my insurance or anything of that nature. Why? Simply, I wound up going over the counter and actually finding a company that was able to go ahead and customize this, and then I was able to use for my audiology report, and I was able to upload this into their program, and then with that being said, it customized my hearing aids to that. But here was the problem with everything. My insurance company would have covered a whole brand new set without me going out of pocket buying a set, but the ENT's office did not want to handle the insurance paperwork, even though it was fully covered, because they were afraid from insurance, because claims can take anywhere from a month to 2 years, they said. So they felt more comfortable with me going with the hearing loss instead of preventing it, and me coming out of pocket with the $0 deductible. Instead, they wanted me to pay outright because they didn't want to do the claim process with my insurance company that would have given a $0 deductible because I met into my plan. So how hard is that? So that is what leaves people stranded. So traditional hearing aids, when you do go to and these are things that refrain people from going to a doctor because the upfront expenses for hearing, it can really get expensive. And I think it's something that should be covered better under your health insurance's plan or whatever, but that's something else. So that being said, I went to 2 different companies and I found hearing aids, clinical grade. Now these ones I don't like because of the ball. They really didn't work well and they had a super bad battery life. And I will not say who they are. But they sit in here and they really do hurt because there's really no actual holding of it, and how they sit in there, it really does not feel secure to me off of the tips. But these are 2 different over-the-counter hearing aids. Most hearing aids, again, these are over-the-counter I bought myself compared to buying them from my ENT's office. This one right here, these ones would be something like an ENT would also sell as well too, from a different brand or a different company, but they can also customize it. Now, one of the other things as far as on it, here's what Apple's innovation that everybody wanted to go ahead and see right here. Apple has a clinically graded test that is a clinically graded audiology report. It customizes a hearing plan for you, and it actually reports everything in. And I'll show you that here shortly. Now, next off as far as on things, traditional hearing aids. So whether it's this pair of hearing aids or this pair of hearing aids. So currently right now, this is one of the things with standard hearing aids that you're usually getting out on the market from an ENT or whatever, are, over the counter if you find a reputable company online when looking for it. Most of them, if you look at what the specs of them are, it only has DSP, which is the digital signal processing. So it's purely there to amplify the sound for you, and that is it. So outside of that control, there's really nothing else that goes on with these. So it's strictly digital signal processing. There's no other features that come onto it. That being said, here's where the game changer of the Apple AirPods Pro 2, which is the only model that you can use that has hearing aids. It has an H2 chip in it. And the H2 chip, here are some of the benefits of an H2 chip over comparable to my, let's say, these were $1,600 out of pocket. This just has digital signal processing. My Apple hearing aids, thanks to the H2 chip, it has adaptive audio technology which gives the clarity in vocals, boost in contextual audio, boost in sound frequencies as well too. So while you do have sound frequencies, this knows where to machine learn and make real-time adjustments as you go throughout the day. So let's say, for example, what your audiologist puts in here programs into these, or you can even program your audiogram report to Apple, and I'll show you where that goes as well too. But it will automatically, even if you have that, it will adjust in real time when it has a sense of hearing to the high points of exposure, the low points of exposure, and it will adjust in real time to help your hearing where it struggles daily. This is a game changer because keep in mind, this is more than what the ENT actually does for you and goes from there. This actually will help see you that your hearing is protected a little better. Another thing it has is hearing protection, which is something that is really not built into even the high fancy ones like this, which is great because across listening modes, it helps prevent exposure to loud noises, wireless audio latency, voice isolation, and conversations. This is huge. The hearing protection is a big benefit. Another nice thing I like about the hearing aids is you just put them in like this. Same as like the other set I showed you. But I like how there's no echo feedback compared to my regular standard hearing aids that has an echo feedback when I talk. Next thing as far as on this as well too, that it has ear tips. It is built into the software feature in Apple's 18.1 and a firmware update that was released. I got it Friday, but it's supposed to be fully released on Monday. Now, here's how you go ahead and do everything when you go into that. So I'm going to go into my my settings. I'm going to go into my AirPods, but here is where it is, right here. So I have it on transparency on my AirPods. You can see Brett's AirPods. Hearing protection, loud sound reduction. You can do an ear tip fit test, which is excellent, simply because it helps you know if the buds, the tips that they give you with the AirPod Pro 2, if they're not working properly, it's going to have that sound distortion. It's going to tell you which ones you're going to want to change possibly out or how to maneuver your hearing aids to the right thing. So here's what happens. You go into here. Right now, hearing assistance and media assist are on for me. Right now, this actually has my hearing results customized to my last test. How accurate was it, guys? Well, I'm going to tell you right here. And you're not going to see it on here because it's personal, it's locked. But this was my audiogram. So I could have used this audiogram. I could have taken a picture. I could have uploaded it into here. But I decided to go ahead and take Apple's hearing test, which is it takes about 5 minutes. You can update your results or you can go ahead and do a new one, which is great. But what happens with it and everything is it gives you the sounds. It tells you to go into a room that is 100% quiet, isolate, and make sure there's no noise. And then you tap a button just like you would do at an audiologist or ENT's office in one of the soundproof rooms. It came spot on to this one right here, even more clear. It gave me the same exact results as that. And again, I'm not going to show you. I am not making this up. I have no commission, nothing. I do not get paid any different. I don't get paid any money for doing this. This is my own review. Then I can, if I want to, I can take a hearing test as well too And if I take the hearing test, it's going to bring me through everything. So test your hearing, get started. This will show everything. And then it will tell you based off of your test if you have mild or moderate hearing loss and what it recommends and where it goes. Now, the cool thing is you have more noise controls. You have transparency, adaptive, noise cancellation. It shows noise control in both my left and right ear, how to answer my call, conversation awareness, automatic ear connection. But also another nice thing is it gives me the spatial audio with my hearing aids as well too. So it's a dynamic submersible sound that I am actually getting in real time. So for example, if I am listening to a conversation, I am actually hearing it clear as can be. And it's not only doing a DSP, digital signal process, it's amplifying it. That H2 chip is a magnificent tool that they have built in, which is a feature that is wonderful on these devices right here. They pretty much, again, it has a machine learning that has the adaptive audio, and it makes real-time adjustments. So as I'm talking throughout the day, it based on the environmental noise that I have as well too, it's going to adjust these automatically once it gets the learning for me. Plus, they don't feel like they're going to fall out. It doesn't feel like I have something lodged in my ear or something loose in my ear. So they do sit a little bit better. I am one of those people, I do not like I don't have a thin wire that is actually going down my ear or into my ear that it feels like when I shake my head like this, it is moving. And that's one of those things that would commonly, and that's why I usually don't wear hearing aids. And then the echo feedback off of what I hear, whether it's a movie or whether it's a conversation, like say something, Dylan.
Hello.
I would hear a little bit of an echo distortion if I was wearing my hearing aids like this. And they disconnect every single time that you put them in. And the charging times, now that's a little different. I wish they would be made a little better. They do have, and it really depends on your active using of how many hours you're going to get and everything. But the hearing protection helps the exposure to the loud noises, the wireless audio latency, and the voice and isolation of conversation as well too. So as compared to a digital signal process, it only does that part. Its only main goal is to just receive what is being said. It is not made to clearly distort out the conversation and the exposure of if the person speaks louder or not, as compared to, let's say, Dylan decides to speak louder in his conversation or anything of that nature. This, with the dynamics of the H2 chip, it's going to be able to broadly spectrum that. Plus, I can hear it in high quality as well too, it's a plus. So there's more than just the DSP side of things, and the cost of them is so much cheaper, cost effective. I didn't have to go throughout my insurance. I was able to purchase them over the counter. It cost me $180 when they were on sale, and they're USB-C and MagSafe as well too. So it has the same charging capabilities as my $2,000 almost set here and my $750 set. And this set I never liked. For $750, it was cash in the trash. This one I like simply because I can customize an audio and listening, but they're not made for listening to music either, guys. So if you have music tunes or anything of that, you're not going to have that distorted sound that it's properly going to hear things from music. Music, that's where these would come into play, which is excellent because they are tune customized for the music, the bass, the treble, the whole 9 yards of it. So now you're actually getting a hearing aid that is not only clinically for your ear, for the hearing, but also the environment around it compared to your more expensive ones. Another nice thing is, I know my report. I know my report right there, whether I want to use this or if I want to take my own. Let's say I feel that my hearing has gone down a little bit. So I want to go ahead and do another test. I want to take that test. I would just go ahead, go into my app, I would go into my AirPods. Well, I turned it off, sorry. Let me get it back on. and I don't have that echo that is in the background usually, which is a game changer to everything. Now my case is 48% charge, but if I feel that my hearing is not to par, I can always go on here and I can always take another hearing test. I'm not going to do the hearing test because I've already taken it, or I can change the noise to adaptive or noise cancellation as well too. This is a big thing as well. Personalized volume. The conversation awareness is it lowers media volume and it reduces background noise when you start speaking to other people. So as compared to these that do not have that, this has that in the Apple AirPod Pro 2 hearing aids. So, what are some of the benefits of over-the-counter hearing aids? Well, hearing aids need to be more made over-the-counter, guys. Look, I'm not going to lie with you or anything of that nature. Hearing health is very, very important, and I am a person, whenever somebody talks to me, I say communication. However, I'm embarrassed if I have to wear these because, number one, they don't fit me right. I feel like I still have that little secondary of not being able to hear a little bit, but you also have that echo, which will sometimes make you just rapidly pull out your hearing aid. And then again, you gotta, sometimes you can get it in there perfect the first time, sometimes it's not. After a while you become a pro. I just don't like this sitting behind here, and I don't like the wire that goes into the ear because it feels, even though it's in there, it feels loose, like it moves, and I can feel a wire, and I just don't like the feel of having a wire there in front of me. And it's just a personal preference of everything. That being said, overall, since using the feature, I like it. I've seen already a benefit and an increase over it. It's something to look into. First, and let me be clear, before you just jump the gun, you know, I always say an ENT is the best place to go because there could be something else going on with your hearing. So it's always best, first and foremost, to go to an ENT to have your hearing checked because they have the tools in place and the specialist in place to go ahead and give you those reports. Clinical grade, I'm impressed because it got nail to nail off of my own audiologist report. So that is really, really huge here. That is really, really huge of what it got and everything. That being said, it said mild to moderate. That's even what it told me here when I actually got my result. I should have probably done it when I did my result, but mild to moderate is what it actually recommended for me, and the scores were comparable and average. So I would say their test, as long as you're in an isolated area, I would probably say, a true noise environment free where there's no sound, no distortion, where you cannot hear loud noise, I would say it's pretty accurate for the most part. I liked it from the second just because, number one, it was adaptive. So if I'm out in one room that has more noise compared to another room, I was still able to clearly hear the other noise coming from the room without it bearing exposure to health as compared to these would have simply given an echo. So there are benefits of them. I am impressed with them, and the price can't be beat, guys. Overall, I think this is going to be a revolutionary change to the industry, simply because, number one, it's going to make it more affordable for people to buy hearing aids, and hopefully, even if you don't like wearing AirPods, this helps probably drive down the cost of what actual hearing aids really do cost to, number one, make, program, assemble, distribute, and get to the hands of the party that needs a hearing aid to go ahead and properly get them. For the price that I spent on them, which I think back up to today, it's up to $200. More people are able to go out and get them and afford them with a $200 product than a $1,500 or $2,000 product. Me personally, and I'm not trying to be weird here of anything one bit at all, the problem with insurance is it allows the ENT to overcharge the insurance, which is then the insurance company going to come back and possibly fight that charge. There should be no middle breaking off of it. When you have everything you need, you should be able to go through. And sometimes, even then, when your insurance does run it through, your insurance will say, oh, well, I want you to do this step now. So there's so many caveats that you have to go through. And there's so many vague, broad terminologies that's built into your insurance that you have to follow before you can actually get your hands sometimes on one of these. As compared to going online, you can browse, and you can go to thousands of websites. There are tons of websites, guys, but you want to make sure that it's a reputable company, not one of these, and you do just like anybody else. You have these fly-by-night companies that open up that claim they're there for hearing health, but then 2 weeks later, after they sold you a product, they're not existent anymore. The customer support is gone. This allows you to user-friendly do everything right from your phone, just like some of the other stuff does, without breaking the bank. And clinically, I have not seen anything that, as of right now, this is where I actually sat and where I wanted to be at. This is something I've been talking about for months, been trying to talk about using it for months, and going from there. And I have had user availability with them for a while, for not only since this past Friday, but I also do development stuff. So I have had access to the hearing aid feature for a while as a beta tester as well too, or a developer. So doing that is something I was able to have hands-on with prior to the launch, or when it is launching to the public to go ahead and have. And keep in mind, to be a developer with Apple, it's $100 a year, but it's well worth it. Plus, it allows you to get your software. I'm not telling you to go and become a developer, but it's great for people that want to do development, apps, and release to the store. And it also allows you to browse features that you can sometimes use. I am not getting paid by Apple to do that. I actually pay Apple so I can try their software before it gets released to the general public, etc., going from there, and if there's any kinks. So far, on a scale of 1 to 5, being 1 worst to 5, here's how I would rate these. To be fair, these sit about a 4. I'm not going to lie. I like them. I think they're great, but I just do not like the features. Number 1, the price, and number 2, how the wire sits. It's better than some of the stuff. These ones that I actually have, I give these a 1 because they did absolutely not one thing for me. These, I'm going to give a 4.5 out of 5 right now, simply because in the short time that I've been able to use them, I've seen more clarity out of them. I've seen better communication out of them. I have less echoes, less distortion. I actually have a more adaptive on listening to music. It cuts my health down. The noise, it cuts the hearing noise down, and it actually sits valuable. Plus, again, it has the audio. It has more features than just a digital signal process as well, too. Overall game changer. I think these are going to start really revolutionizing men and women's health of hearing in the near future. And essentially, we're going to be able to do everything from our phone. But essentially, you don't have to go and pay every time a fee to go have somebody adjust something. It can do it right there for you when you do it. If you need to take that test again, it's there for you to be able to use and do it, so that way you can concentrate on your health. It's also going to, throughout the day, whether you're in your car, you're in a meeting, or you're at home, you're listening to whole things, it's going to see that level environment of the noise. So it's going to know how to adaptively set that and customize it, as compared to even these hearing aids will not do that, and they're more expensive. So that's my first review on Apple AirPod Pro 2 hearing aids. I hope this works great for people that are actually, this video is more aimed towards people that have hearing loss. I think it's a great feature that has. Again, I always recommend, number 1, I am not a doctor. I'm not a licensed doctor or anything of that nature. So I'm not telling you to take my advice and say, skip going to an ENT or anything of that. You do your due diligence. I always recommend first, before doing it, you get an audiogram. Simply because of the fact that audiogram is going to tell you what you have. However, before you purchase hearing aids, I always recommend you look at the benefits, you look at your insurance, if they're going to make you pay out of pocket, if they're not going to make you pay out of pocket. Cost effectively, do your research. There are tons of companies that make these, and very few are reputable, and some aren't. And, that's just a trial and error. Over-the-counter hearing aids should be over-the-counter once you're clinically diagnosed with that, simply because of the fact of it's part of your health. It's a big part of health, and it's a big part of your communication and how you can hear, decipher things, and I think it's really, really good. Now, these are not made for people with just a little bit of hearing loss or just selective hearing loss where they just don't want to talk back to somebody. So don't get yourself mixed between that. However, I think these are the start of a game changer in the market that's either going to be a force multiplier that actually gets even bigger and bigger out of Apple, and other companies like Samsung, they're going to try to get involved with it. LG is going to try to get involved with it. Also, I think this might be a driving point to where it helps with companies lowering the cost of hearing aids. It should not cost as much as what it does to get a set of hearing aids today in our country. So that being said, again, I hope everybody likes this video. It's not something I can do really hands-on where the hearing of being able to see it and go from there, because you can't see my ear unless Dylan wants to buy a machine to let everybody see my ears. Do you want to buy a machine?
No.
Okay, he doesn't. But I do appreciate everybody that has tuned into this video. Again, this is based off my own research. My facts that I have put into it simply because of a couple things. I do have moderate hearing loss. So you are actually truly hearing from somebody and a user that has used all three of these. And I'm going to give, and it's not to say, oh, I'm an Apple fan, or I'm not an Apple fan, or I'm a Samsung fan, or anything of that nature. I am a person that is involved heavily with technology. I believe technology is a backbone of what makes things better, and I think it makes it we have more resources that way. That being said, as a user, I am always looking for features that are going to help improve my quality, my hearing health, and my speech recognition, environmental noise, all the things that have essentially made me lose my hearing. And I am and to be fair, I am in a loud environment daily. So that is something I cannot unfortunately stop. But I am in a loud environment daily for my work. So it is one of those things that is important to my health. And if it's going to help me have that, I know I'm better off. And so far, these have not been short of a disappointment. They have been spot on. And I like the features. I will probably come back in about 60 days and give a more in-detail review and go from there. Again, I want to thank Dylan from Double Shots for allowing me to do this video. Like and subscribe to this channel. Click the like button if you like this video. If you have used and taken the Apple hearing test, if you've gotten that software and you have the AirPods Pro 2, let me know what you like built into the features if you've used it. And if you think it's a game changer to the industry, I think it is. I think it's a game changer, whether it's just a start or it's, really there. This is the way to get things to lower the cost of how much hearing health. And I think hearing health should be an included, valuable things. And this is one of the things I have always said, and this is where it's broken at. Hearing, eyes, teeth need to be covered inside that insurance. They're part of your body. There shouldn't be separate things and riders for your eyes, teeth, and your hearing. So that is it for now. I will be back with a new video here soon. Thanks once again to Dylan for allowing me to do this video. Like and subscribe to his channel, guys.